need to refresh your memory, you can ask me when I turn on the microphones, or we have passenger briefing cards in this pocket, also the seat backs in front of you. So we'll get out of here in just a second. Here we go. Oh.
When you're on a holiday, you can't find the words to say all the things that come to you, and I wanna feel it too. On an island.
Any golfers on board today? The golf course ahead of us, designed by Jack Nicklaus back in the 1980s. It's Lagoons Golf Course. And the harbor up ahead where the cruise ship is, that's the Newilly Harbor. Beyond that, the river ahead to the right, that's the Hulia River. If you remember Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana Jones had to escape in a float plane, that was filmed right there on the Hulia River. That body of water just on the north side of the river over to the ahead to the right, that's the Menehune Fish Pond. Said to be over 1,000 years old, and according to legend, built overnight by the Menehune. Anyone see the movie The Descendants with George Clooney? I didn't either. But over to the left, you'll see it in just a second. There's a beach located over there that was used in the movie. There it is. All right, the passenger microphones are turned on, control tower's through with me, so Christina, where are you from? Had to hold it real close.
Florida.
Florida, what part?
St. Petersburg.
Say that one more time.
St. Petersburg.
St. Pete, great. And my mom lives in Boca. My brother's a retired Fort Lauderdale PD detective. He lives in Deerfield.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. So, great to have you on board. First time here?
Second time, but first time on Kauai.
Okay, well, this is the best island anyway. And they don't have last names, so are you with Anthony over here? Or
Chris is my husband.
okay, they split you up like that. Sometimes we wonder about the computer system they use. Well, have y'all met each other?
Actually, yes, we're traveling together too.
Okay, good, good. So, Anthony, who are you with?
Yes, I'm from Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Okay, cool, cool. First time here?
Second time in Kauai.
Great.
Fifth or sixth time in Hawaii.
It's so good you had to keep coming back.
We'll be back next year.
Great. So my wife and I, when we used to vacation here, I mean, it's like, why don't we just move there? Here we are.
Good move.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. Sabrina, gee, where are you guys from? Had to push that button.
Grand Junction, Colorado.
Oh, okay. First time to Kauai? Enjoying it? Good. The tree tunnel right ahead of us, if you've driven from Lahui to Poipu or Kaloa, you've driven through the tree tunnel. It's eucalyptus trees planted in 1911. Its actual purpose was to shade the animals that brought the sugar from the sugar mill at Kaloa over to our left to the port at Lahui. So not only does it look cool and it's neat to drive through, it actually has a purpose. My record player keeps skipping around different songs. I apologize for that. The green area is over here on the left. That's our Kauai coffee fields. One time that was sugar cane and pineapple, but now it's Kauai coffee. And I think we determined no golfers on board, but if there were, the Kukui Alono Golf Course and Japanese Garden, 9 holes for $9. That's the town of Kalaheo over to the left. My wife and I live there. And on top of that hill, that's the golf course and Japanese garden. It's not that challenging from what I hear. I'm not a golfer. But you get great views of the ocean, coffee fields, and also Niihau, the island, out in the distance to the left, if the weather's clear.
I may do it next week.
Oh, really? Okay. So you do play golf?
Up occasionally.
It's so cheap, though. I mean, why not? My wife and I did go to the driving range, and we've never picked up a golf club before in our life, except to club a snake to death back in Texas. But it was just a lot of fun. Both of us rented the drivers and 2 cans of balls and everything. It cost us about $8 for the whole day. And
I may go for the view.
yeah, it's great. And we found out for 2 people that never played before, we were really terrible. Well, the first thing we're going to look at is a waterfall that was used in the movie Jurassic Park. If you recall the opening sequence, helicopter flies up to a waterfall. That's located here in the Hanapepe Valley. That's the valley right in front of us. The actual name of the waterfall is Manawaiapuna. Everyone just refers to it as Jurassic Park Falls. We've had a lot of rainfall lately, so you'll see several waterfalls in the area. And there's Jurassic Falls, and I'll put it on both sides of the helicopter when we get a little closer.
Welcome to Jurassic.
That's it. Now that's a pretty little waterfall on the ride.
with the helicopter sitting down there?
Oh, they're always breaking down. No, they have a permit with the landowner, and they'll do a little 5-minute hike down to the waterfall. And Kahili Falls right ahead of us. Slide to the left. All this land's privately owned. It's owned by the Robinson family. So really the only way you can get down and look at it is with a helicopter. The Robinsons won't give permission to hike or camp in their areas. They own about 51,000 acres from here all the way to Waimea Canyon. It started out back in the 1850s, 1860s. A lady named Eliza Sinclair was on a sailing expedition all through the islands looking for land for cattle and crops. She came across the island of Niihau that we saw. Bought it for $10,000 in gold. I think at the time it was 67 pounds of gold. And after that, she started buying portions of Kauai. And her descendants, the Robinsons, continue to own it today. A lot of the land used for conservation, but some of it still used for agriculture. They even own their own canyon. It's called the Olakale Canyon. We'll cross over it on the way to the Waimea Canyon. Now you'll feel a bump or two because of the trade winds are blowing strong. They hit the ridges or flow through the valleys. It's almost like water across rocks, creates a little mechanical turbulence, they call it. But we get free lifts. You'll feel us just lift off this ridge here in front of us. And ahead of us, this is the Olakale Canyon, privately owned by the Robinsons. Absolutely gorgeous canyon.
It'd be fun to say, check out my canyon.
Yeah, exactly. Over to the left at the mouth of the Waimea River, that's the town of Waimea. That's where Captain James Cook first set foot on Hawaiian soil back in 1778. Hawaiians originally thought Captain Cook was a god, but they ended up killing him over on the Big Island in a dispute over a boat. Now we can't hike or camp in the Olakale Canyon, but the Waimea Canyon ahead of us, that's pretty much wide open. Plenty of hiking trails and camping facilities located there. It's the largest canyon in the Pacific, about 10 miles long, 1.5 miles wide, 3,600 feet deep at the deepest point. It was said that Mark Twain called it the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. There's some argument as to whether he was ever actually here or not, but it's still a great description. First area of the canyon over to the right is known as the Waialae. It's named after the Waialae River that flows through it. We have the Waialae, the Kauai, and the Po'omau. And all three of those rivers come and join the Waimea that stretches before us and comes out here on the left-hand side. horizontal lines you see on the canyon wall, that's an indication of a separate lava flow from the creation of the island about 5.5 billion years ago. Started out, there was an opening on the ocean floor called a vent. Lava came out, more eruptions and lava flows followed. They stacked on top of one another, eventually reaching the surface of the sea and forming the island. All the Hawaiian Islands form the same way. Kauai is the oldest of the 6 major islands. The baby of the family is Big Island. It's 500,000 years old and still being formed by the active volcanoes that are located there. I just love when this thing messes up. I know everyone loves that song. Like a close and play record player from the 60s. This is the Po'omau part of the canyon. First time my wife and I drove out here years ago on vacation, you go up to the Waimea Canyon lookout, and it's like, wow, I can't believe this is out here in the middle of the ocean. And if you do make the drive to the lookout, as we climb out, look over to the left a little bit, along the canyon rim, you'll see it. Oh, the bright green trees at the bottom, those are kukui nut trees, brought here by the Polynesians about 500 AD as a source of oil. And you can get a kukui nut necklace at the local ABC store, one of those places. There's the Waimea Canyon lookout over to the left. You see a few cars in the parking lot. And ahead of us, Barking Sands Beach before it disappears under the clouds. That's 14 miles of beach line, part of Polyholly State Park. And the buildings and airstrip in the middle, that's part of the Pacific Missile Range facility. Keep an eye on North Korea for us. This is the driest part of Kauai. Actually, Barking Sands is known as the driest part. 14 to 19 inches of rainfall per year. Lahui, where we took off from, usually gets about 40 to 50. Princeville on the North Shore will get about 100. And then the summit of Mount Waialeale gets around 430 to 460 inches of rainfall per year. It's been called the wettest spot on Earth. And not too long ago, they got over 600 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. A lot of wildlife beneath us. Black-tailed deer, wild goats, wild hogs, the occasional chicken. Have y'all seen our chickens yet? Not one? Yeah. Believe it or not, they do have 1 or 2 running around the island. When you you step off the plane and the boat, they're the ones that usually hand you the lays. And if you Google birds of Kauai, it's not even a chicken. It has that stupid rooster and it says red jungle fowl. It's like a chicken to me. These cliffs to the left, this was thought of by the ancient Hawaiians as being the jumping off point for the spirit world. They felt that when you died, your spirit came here and jumped off into the next world. And the White Domes, that's a tracking station for the missile range facility. You'll see a few more radar installations upslope as well. If you enjoy hiking, one of my favorite trails is the Lola Vista Trail. Goes right along this last rim up here, and you can see, sometimes you can see a little guardrail up here, but it ends right ahead of us. And it gives you great views of Nuulola Valley and also the Nepali coast. There's someone on the trail up there. This is the beginning of the Nepali coast. We'll drop down and take a look at this valley beneath us. This is Avapui Valley, and then we'll drop into the Nuulola Valley. This is believed to be the first place of civilization here on the island of Kauai. Found bones dating back to about 200 AD. Honopu Arch, right over there on the beach, to the right. I'll bring it on the left as well. This rock formation ahead, known as, I wrote something down there. This is known as the cathedrals. And the beach over on the left, that's the Kalalau Beach. The only way you can get to that beach is by The 11-mile Kalalau Trail or by boat.
Scott, would you explain the trade winds to us and tell
Sure.
us why they get so much press?
The trade winds dictate what goes on as far as our comfort and also the amount of rain and where the rain falls. What happens, this is the Kalalau Valley. Real quick, I'll explain this. This is the Kalalau Valley, largest valley on the Nepali coast. And this was home to about 4,000 Hawaiians until 1919, then they all moved out to the modern conveniences located on the east side. Actually, let me explain when we get to the east side of the island because there's a good visual representation as well. But that's a great question. Show you Hanakoa Falls. It'll be hidden just for a minute. It's just on the other side of this outcropping over to the right, but it's gorgeous. And I'll put it on both sides. And it's starting to come into view. Now the jagged peaks ahead over to the right, that was used in the 1950s musical as Bali High. And then the large sea cave, right off our right now, Ho'olulu, or place of rest. And I'll make a big wide right turn so that we bring it on the left as well. And you're able to see to the south on this west coast. Take a look down there, that's a gorgeous view of the Nepali when we make our turn. This coast always changes its appearance, depending on the amount of clouds, the sunlight, the angle of the sunlight, the winds, the mist, everything makes it look different. Always beautiful. You can see part of the Kalalau Trail, that 11-mile hike. Over to the right, you see it winding just above the shoreline. You can do 2.5 miles of it and a side trip into the Hanakapiai Valley, that large valley to the right, without a permit. Beyond that, a permit's required. You can get those online.
Not challenging?
Yes. I mean, well, the 2.5 mile, yeah, I mean, it's not like the 11 mile, but it's a good hike, it really is. And you get great views along the whole way. Now get here early. It starts here at Ka Beach. Get here early, because if not, you're going to have to hike to the hike. But that's Ka Beach right there on the right. Beginning of the Kalalau Trail, but that's the end of the road if you go by car. Can't go any further than right there. The large reef ahead to the right, that's in front of Tunnels Beach. Tunnels is a great snorkeling spot most of the time. Always check with a lifeguard first. And pretty good surfing in the winter months. And that was also, I tell you to get into the water. Now I'll tell you it's the site of a tiger shark attack several years ago. Young female surfer lost her arm in the attack. She recovered, continued to surf, and her story was made into the movie Soul Surfer. Area of homes over to the right, that's Hyanna. Devastated by a tsunami in 1957. A couple of movie stars have homes there today though, Pierce Brosnan and Julia Roberts. And then off in the distance ahead of us, see the part of the island sticks out to the left, that's Kilauea. The Kilauea Lighthouse is located at the tip. It was built in 1913 when the first airplane made the flight from the mainland of the U.S. to Hawaii. The first thing they saw as evidence they were getting close was the Kilauea Lighthouse beacon. It was visible from 90 miles out. Manini Beach, just this side of Kilauea. Princeville, right ahead of us. The large white building on the shoreline is the St. Regis. Hanalei Bay, where the sailboats are. Hanalei means crescent shape or wreath shape, giving the bay its name. And this pretty beach we'll cross back onto shore at. This is Lumahai Beach. This is where the actress Mitzi Gaynor was filmed singing "I'm Gonna Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair" in the musical South Pacific. Anyone see that musical? Okay. And have you tried poi since you've been on the island? Delicious. These are taro fields over on the left-hand side. They take the taro root, mash it up, somewhere in the process, remove anything that resembles flavor, and they call it poi. A purple goo that has no taste whatsoever. That's the best way to describe it. I'm from Texas. They don't have barbecue poi or bacon wrap poi or jalapeno poi. This is the part of the island that gets about 100 inches of rainfall per year. You can see how green and lush it is. Compared to just 10 miles to the southwest where you only get 14 to 19 inches of rainfall. And once again, the trade winds and the mountain range make the difference. What happens, and I'll tell you now and I'll show you over there, but the trade winds blow from the east and northeast. They bring in all that Pacific moisture. Well, what happens? Nothing happens until it's pushed up slope of the mountain range. And once it does, it cools and it's wrung out like a sponge, the clouds form and you get the rain. But when you don't have strong trade winds, it's very muggy here. it feels like you're on a tropical island. It gets kind of muggy. And we also have the VOG, or the volcanic fog from the Big Island, creeps in as well. The trade winds keeps it offshore all the time. But when they're real light or they quit, then we get the VOG here. But yeah, it's cooler when the trade winds are blowing. It's a little more predictable where the rain's going to be. So it affects everything. All right, a lot of rainfall on this side, steep mountains, so you have big waterfalls. That's Namalakama Falls over to the right. Comes from the top of that tall mountain. 2,400 feet from top to bottom. Now the winds today are blowing pretty much out of the east, so we get a few less clouds here. If the winds were blowing more out of the northeast, this area would be socked in pretty good with clouds because more of this valley is exposed to the clouds. I'll put Namalakama on the left as well. Ahead of us, this is the Hanalei Valley we'll fly into. Hollywood loves this valley. Koa Falls right ahead of us. Parts of numerous movies and let's see, television shows also in here, but Jurassic Park, Mighty Joe Young, Tropic Thunder, Uncommon Valor filmed in the valley here. All this valley's missing is a dinosaur walking through the middle of it. And this river, the Hanalei River, has tilapia and peacock bass in it. So if you enjoy freshwater fishing, not bad. You do need a license for freshwater fishing here on the island, but you don't for saltwater fishing. Now, Gene, where you're going to see when we climb out of the valley, there's going to be a lot more clouds in that area because more of that is open and exposed to our trade winds are blowing more out of the east today. This area is sort of protected right now. Now, if it came from the northeast, a lot of times this valley will sock in. That's Twin Falls, over to the right. and high velocity. That's the name of that area ahead of us. And as we climb out, you get a good view of a big chunk of the island. Most of the east shore is visible when the clouds are up. You see part of the south shore just on the other side. You can turn back around and see part of the north shore. About this time I realized I live on a little bitty island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. 5.5 billion years ago, the island was created by the volcano now known as Mount Waialeale. On one eruption, the east wall blew out. Gives us a chance to go inside and take a look.
She black and egg white. Pull me out from inside. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am taffy stuck and tongue tied.
Mohoko Pele. That's that rock. That's the only formation like that on the islands. Now, Gene, you've got a north or south wall and this north wall. So a huge chunk of Pacific moisture is funneled in this area, and it goes in the crater and up to the top, and that's why the summit of Mount Waialeale gets so much rainfall. It's because of the crater itself and these two walls here. A part of Jurassic Park, and also Flight of the Intruder with Danny Glover filmed down here beneath us. And a legend or two in Hawaii's history. That low sprawling mountain up ahead to the left, that Sleeping Giant Mountain. You have to use a little imagination. The giant's lying on his right side, his head's to the north. Follow his long neck to his shoulder. You can see his elbow bent, his arms across his stomach, legs come down, bend back to the southeast. Hawaiians said that everywhere the giant walked and sat created a flat area that they could use to grow crops. Hawaiians were so thankful, they threw a luau for him. He ate too much, fell asleep, and there he is. That's the legend. They would also build fires around the base of the mountain, hoping that the shadows cast out would give the appearance that giants inhabited the island, scaring off anyone thinking of invading the island of Kauai. Way over there in the distance, over to the left, that far mountain, the last part, or the right part of it, resembles a gorilla's profile staring up the sky. That was used in the 1970s version of King Kong, a horrible movie. I think the legend there is that it was a good movie. Jessica Lange was young. That was about, The trees down beneath us, these are albizia trees brought here from Africa as a source of wood to burn at the sugar mill. They burn extremely well. That's all they're good for. It looks like a giant mimosa, not really good for anything else. And they grow extremely fast, about 20 feet the first year and up to 50 feet within 6 years.
They're also the bark is used as a Chinese herb to ease the liver chi and make you happy.
Really? Well, I take it back. I have read that they used the albizia tree. Yeah, it went by another name at times on that.
Chinese is Hahuan Pi.
Okay. But yeah, I heard the same thing. Kilauea crater, right over there to the right. You can see the dished out portion of the crater. Let me call control tower and I want to show you another waterfall. The Walua River over to the left, only navigable waterway on the island of Kauai. Now for riverboat rides, stand-up paddleboarding, canoeing, kayaking through there. What I want to show you is Walua Falls. It'll come into view on the left first, and did I say the river was on the right? The river's on the left over here. Walua Falls will come into view on the left first, and I'll put it on the right. 133 feet tall from top to bottom. In the old days, Hawaiian men would climb to the top of the waterfall and jump in as a rite of passage. But most people see the waterfall, they recognize it from the old television series Fantasy Island when Tattoo would say, "Boss, be plain, be plain." That was filmed right there at Walua Falls. Chris, over here, see that waterfall? Well, that's one of the best ones on the island. Nobody can tell me what the name of it is. Look real quick over here. See it down there? None of the locals that have been here forever can tell me what the name of it is. I think I know how to hike down there, though. If you drive to Walua Falls, at the first turnaround, there's a trail that looks like it's going off down into there. Now, it may be trespassing, so I'm not advocating anyone do it or anything, and I'm certainly not going to do it. But it looks like a pretty waterfall. As we head back to the airport, Anthony, you are sitting by the door, so I'm required to tell you, please don't open the door unless instructed by the pilot. That would be me. The ground crew will do that for us. When we do land, I'll give the okay to remove your seatbelt. To do that, you just rotate the buckle. That will release the belt. When the ground crew opens up the door, remove your headset, exit to the front. There's either a box outlined in blue, or at least go to the asphalt portion, get off the concrete pad, and that'll get you out from underneath the rotor disc. And they'll be glad to take a picture of you using your camera, standing in front of the aircraft if you wish. And when you get back to the Harbor Mall, take the time, please, and fill out one of those comment cards. Let us know what you thought of the tour. We read each and every one of them. And we make changes to the tour if we need to. But we do read each and every one of them and appreciate your input. So on behalf of Blue Hawaiian, my name's Scott. Thank you so much for going. I've got to turn off mics while we get ready to land. Oh, and thanks to Christina. She was a great co-pilot. If the landing's rough, we'll blame her.
That I felt it. I tried to beat you, but you're so hot that I melted right through the cracks. Get back. You done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest.
Kauai Beach Resort over here on the left-hand side.
I reckon it's again my turn.
Y'all staying there? Oh, cool. That's where my wife and I first stayed when we came here on vacation years ago.
I'll take no more, no more. It cannot.
Put on some landing music.
I'm yours.
Now, Ahukini landing over here to the right, that was really the first port here in Kauai. Other than Poipu, Kaloa landing.
I wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock. They say there may be rain, but the sun is hot. I wish I had some time just to kill today, and I wish I had a dime for every bill I got to pay. Some days you lose, you win, and the water's as high as the times you're in. So I jump back in where I learned to swim. Try to keep my head above it the best I can. That's why here I am, just waiting for this storm to pass me by. And that's the sound of sunshine coming down. And that's the sound of sunshine coming down. I saw my friend Bobby, he said, what's up, man? You got a little work or 20?
And we're there.
I opened up my hand, he said, I'm glad to see
All right, you can take off your seat belts now by rotating the buckle. And when they open up the door, you can just get on the black asphalt up there, and that'll get you out from underneath the rotor disc. Thanks again for going, gang.